Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the XL Steelix in the Open Ultra League. We did some friendlies here right now against some other players on my friend list right now. I asked on Twitter for this as always, and we're going to take a look today at a very bulky team, but also like a very strong team in the current meta. We're going to have the double as our say-sop, trying to get out Pokemon like, for example, the Cobalion, which is not really the ideal Pokemon to get out, but those Pokemon that you don't want to face basically with the Steelix, because Steelix is of course weak against those fighting type Pokemon, and getting them out with our double is always kinda nice. And for those fighting type Pokemon, we have basically one of the hardest answers and one of the best Pokemon right now in the meta, in the lead, which is going to be Toxicroak. Toxicroak is going to be very cool because it's going to be able to completely destroy Cobalion as well as Virizion in the Ultra League. Here, we're going to now have to take another charge move from the opponent, another Sacred Sword, but you're going to be able to resist everything here right now. And now we are shield down, we are in a very bad spot, but we're still going to have our Steelix. And Steelix is going to be able to go for a breaking swipe against the opponent's Dragonite at this point of time, getting the first shield here, while getting out the Sandslash from the opponent as well. So, this is definitely a drill run, so I'm going to use a shield here, which is going to get the, basically gonna get the energy of the opponent, and I can now bait them with a breaking swipe right now. And this is going to get the shield, and like this, we're going to now take the the drill run from the opponent here right now, which is going to be now a little bit lower in terms of the damage output. I can swap out, can knock them out with the Toxicroak, and getting from basically one of the worst possible scenarios to a very decent one, because the opponent does not get to enough energy here basically to get to a Dragon Claw as well as a superpower. So breaking swipe Steelix was able to basically win us the game here already, and this was absolutely wild. And we're going to see way more of those those gameplays here in general right now. We're going to have a horrible lead for us. Gliscor is nothing that we can really do about it. We're still going to have now at least the Obstagoon against us with our Double against Obstagoon is surprisingly a decent matchup for the Double. But the opponent actually runs a very spicier moveset with Obstruct here right now, which allows them here right now to survive those body slams a little bit easier as well as the double kick. So that's going to be a little bit tricky. Of course, great play by them to shield up the first one, because otherwise they would definitely have not the greatest time here. We're going to still be able to survive this Night Session, still get to another move. I was hoping they get another shield from the opponent, but sadly I won't, but at least I will be able to now knock them out. And now it is Gliscor against the Steelix, but also the Snorlax against the Steelix. And this is going to be an interesting one, because both of the opponent's Pokemon have coverage against Steelix at this point of time. So, a very bad matchup for me, right? Wrong. They go straight for Superpower here, which is already decent for us, as we can still go for another breaking swipe. So now they're at -3 attack already. So we can now farm them all the way down most likely, as well as they are going to go for another charge move here. I can survive that easily. There's going to be another Superpower, and they're going to go ahead and most likely swap out now into the Gliscor. So, all Gliscor, I don't know actually, but we're just gonna say Gliscor for this point. And we're going to now see that we can go for breaking swipe all over again, and we're gonna see the second debuff already, and there's going to be now an Earthquake coming through. We're not gonna do too much damage against the opponent, but it does not really matter. If we're gonna just chip them away the entire time, it is all fine. We're going to be at -3 attack now. That's not all, we're going to be able to now go for -4 attack as well, and of course we can now try to catch a move onto our Toxicroak, which still has full health here right now, and this is going to be super effective Earthquake, which does around half of our health because of all the debuffs, and it is just insane. So next battle starting here right now, we're going to see a Steelix in the lead. So Steelix against us, but our team is also decent against Steelix. But sadly, we're going to now see the opponent having a Slurpuff coming in here right now, which our fast move's not going to do too much damage, but of course we could knock them out with just a Sludge Bomb. But I expect the opponent to know that, so I'm gonna go for the bait. And yes, I bait a lot of times too often. And as you can see here right now, again, I bait too often and I bait another time. And this is all not really ideal, as we are now very low. And the opponent even gets to another charge move here against my double, and I decide to use a shield here against the play rough, but I still will be able to at least farm them all the way down. But this was like, if I just went for one Sludge Bomb, I would have just knocked out the opponent, had a great time here, so my own mistake. But now we're going to see the double against the Steelix match up against us right now. And you see already, double fast move, super effective, literally still doesn't do really a lot of damage. And now with a breaking swipe, we do even less damage here right now. And while this is supposed to be a decent matchup for us, it is just not really, because the opponent is just debuffing us all over the place here right now. So it's not really looking too good at this point. I'm going to be able to overfarm by a little bit, and I try to swap out onto a charge move, which didn't work out, and they have the Mr. Mime in the back. And of course, this was honestly, this literally was the stupidest play I did all day because I wouldn't get to another move anyway. Why did I not just go for the Sludge Bomb? And Lily would have won the game immediately here. But I will be able to at least go for still 2 body slams against the opponent here right now. And in the back, we're going to still have our Steelix now against the Mr. Mime with the new fast move Magical Leaf here. They are running Psychic as well as Shadow Ball, by the way, on this Pokemon. They only learn, like, I think, Psybeam otherwise, so, like, no Focus Blast or anything like this. Sadly, of course, for the Mr. Mime. But as you're going to see right now, they're actually lagging out at this point of time, so I'm just going to forfeit. They had just had the Pokeball plus or whatever on at the same time and spun a stop with that. If you didn't know, this is basically why games freeze right now during PvP, which is kind of awkward. But let's take a look at the next game here right now. Great lead for us, I guess, LilyNiRiain, but I feel like I lagged a lot of times during this battle. I'm not sure if it actually was me lagging or if it just like looked so weird. But LilyNiRiain against Toxicroak here, I'm not going to go for the bait, and of course they're going to shield. It's actually a little bit worse than I thought it would be, because yes, you're going to resist everything here right now, but actually they're going to outspeed you so much that you're going to be forced to use another shield here. But at least we're still going to be able to realign for sure. But the opponent going to decide to go into the double. And I'm just going to do exactly the same what my opponent just did before. And I'm not going to go into my own double. I'm going to go into my Steelix, because the charge moves are not really going to do too much damage. And I can go for a breaking swipe at this point, which will be able to get the drop onto the opponent, as well as most likely nearly get the knockout as well. So I don't even think they're going to get to another charge move, but let's see. They actually can still survive 2, and they can still get to another charge move. Is this a body slam? Yeah, it's just a body slam doing basically no damage here right now. And we see the LilyNiRiain coming in, where we can still go ahead and go for another breaking swipe. And here's the awkward part. If they let this move go through, I will be able to shield this move up here right now, and I'm just going to have breaking swipe against whatever they're going to have in the back, which is going to be in this case Greninja, which can be a little bit tricky. But with the breaking swipe right now, we're gonna get some decent damage onto them. I can go and swap into my Toxicroak, go for a Mud Bomb this time around. Is definitely a great play, because they're forced to shield something up eventually, because Greninja doesn't have the decent bulk there. And they're gonna go for a Night Slash, which is fine for me, as I can just go ahead, go into my double, go for a Body Slam, and knock them out, and I should have a great time here, as Hydro Cannon does basically no damage. So, incoming Body Slam should be all it takes to knock out the opponent's Greninja. Okay, one more fast move, and yeah, we're going to be able to easily win this game here against the opponent's LilyNiRiain now, and we can move on into the next one. Again, Steelix is just overpowered. Honestly, like, literally, I cannot say anything about it. Steelix is literally the best Pokemon right now to play. Horrible lead for us. This is literally a core breaker of our lead, as well as our Pokemon in the back with Steelix. But let's take a look if we can do still something against this opponent. Scrafty coming in, horrible for us as well. So far so hard countered, which is kinda awkward, but let's take a look if we can do something here. As we can hit another Body Slam, and the opponent going to decide to let this move go through. Can I still reach another one? I can, and like this, I'm going to be able to get at least a shield advantage here right now, or switch, and I'm gonna get shield advantage, which is fine. And like this, I still maybe have a chance here, which I hope I do, because let's take a look at this one. We're going to be able to get the Farm Loan against the opponent's Scrafty, and in comes the Talonflame, which now can go for a Flame Charge, which is very scary, but I can still go ahead and go for 2 more fast moves. That's ideal to get as much energy, or like as many fast moves in as possible before they can get to another one. And I can now go for a Sludge Bomb, hit them with it, and they're going to swap out into a Greedent. How is the matchup of the new Mudshot Greedent against the Steelix? Of course, horrible for the Greedent, because Steelix is absolutely busted. They can get the debuff with the Crunch, which they don't do here, which is very nice for us, but every time they're gonna go for a charge move, it's going to be less and less damage, because Breaking Swipe is just breaking away and is literally so busted, it is absolutely wild. And I already made a tweet about this. I really dislike that they gave Steelix Breaking Swipe. Before, they gave a Breaking Swipe to basically those very weak or like very squishy Pokemon, which made so much sense, because it gave them a little bit of bulk at least, which was really nice for them. But like now, you're gonna give one of the bulkiest Pokemon a move that makes it even bulkier, which I just don't get. Like, why do you do this? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But like this, we're going to be able to even survive this crunch here, even though the opponent is not debuffed anymore, as we can even go for more Breaking Swipes, and there is nothing they can do about it, as we can just spam those ones. And honestly, Steelix is like literally the most broken Pokemon I've ever seen. It is absolutely disgusting to play against it. 1 HP still even survives this one. And we can move on to the next game. And this is going to be the only game so far that's going to be a little bit tricky. We're going to have a great lead here, actually. Great lead for us, but in comes the Charizard. We're going to swap into Double. So far, not even that bad, because Double against Charizard is usually a fairly decent matchup for us. But as you're going to see here right now, I kinda underestimate the Charizard a little bit. As you're going to see right now, they're gonna go for Blast Burn, going to be able to go for another Body Slam. This should put them into farm down range for me. That's at least what I thought. And yeah, I should have went for the Body Slam here most likely already, because I can still go for one Blast Burn, but that's not all. I thought I can easily farm down here. No, they still have a Dragon Claw with 1 HP left. They're gonna get to another Dragon Claw, which is forcing us to use a shield against them. And this is really bad for us, as now we're gonna see the Greninja coming in, and I make a mistake here. Honestly, I should not have done that at all. I definitely made a huge mistake here by going into my Toxicroak. I actually don't know why I did this at this point. I should have just stayed in with my Double, go for another Body Slam there, and go into my Steelix then instead. But no, I decided to go into my Toxicroak, which literally loses the game here for me. Like, I don't know why I did this. Literally doesn't make sense. So, I would have been able to win this game if I didn't play it like that stupidly there. So, definitely my mistake. Because now, the opponent still tries to catch the move here, which didn't work out. And I just barely miss out of the Earthquake here, because they're actually going to run the new move Blaze Kick on this Pokemon. Which I'm not sure if it's actually going to help Lucario too much. But yeah, good game there. Could have easily won the game if I just played it better. Like, if I went into my Steelix, I'm fairly certain I would have been able to win this one, because I then basically get rid of the energy of the Greninja already. I would have been able to go for another Body Slam against the Greninja with my Double before, and I still keep my hard answer for both of their Pokemon in the back there, so that was bad. Speaking of that was bad, payback onto a Virizion is also always bad, but great play by the opponent here, as we will be able to still go for some Body Slams though against the Virizion, which is going to be nice for us, as we now see the Sacred Sword coming through. We are gonna go ahead and go back into our Toxicroak, of course, as we can hopefully go for a full farm down against the opponent here right now, as they're gonna go ahead and go for Leaf Blade. Leaf Blade going to do some decent damage, but they're gonna still get to another one for sure, but they're going to decide to swap out into Giratina. And I feel like this is a huge mistake, because we're going to have Steelix now, and they're running the Dragon Breath variant of Giratina. So like this, we're gonna be able to get to another Breaking Stripe here right now. This is gonna do some decent damage, but also we can just go for a full farm down at this point. Like, why would we really want to throw a Charge Move here against the opponent anymore? They don't do anything against us, everything they do is resisted. And yeah, like, we're just gonna get a ton of energy, which is going to be amazing for whatever wants to come back in later on. So here we're gonna be able to just go ahead and go for the farm down, as they're gonna go to the Virizion. I'm gonna use a shield here, so I keep my Steelix a little bit healthy, because I know already that I'm going to be able to beat one of the Pokemon. But let's see what in the back. It's going to be a Charizard. This is going to be a little bit awkward, right? Not really, as we will see here right now. Breaking Swipe is just literally so busted, and like, honestly, we're going to see the shield coming up here. We're going to be able to swap out into our Toxicroak and bait the opponent here with a Mud Bomb, which definitely going to get the shield here, which was kind of obvious for us. But we can let this move go through, and now it's Steelix again, just going to try to get the triple knockout here against the opponent. Let's take a look at this one. We're gonna get the free fast move in, which is amazing, and I expect that the opponent going to try to catch a move soon, and they do not. So here I waited out one turn so I can see if the opponent going to swap or not, and like this I can now get the knockout, and the Giratina comes back in, and we're gonna get another knockout. So 3 knockouts for the Steelix here right now, around like 20 breaking swipes hitting the opponent at this point of time. It is so disgusting to play with this Pokemon. It's such a huge problem for the Ultra League, and I just don't like it, to be fair. But yeah, here for friendlies, of course, I can definitely destroy some of my viewers, which is always nice. But you're gonna see now the Poliwrath against us, which we're going to use a shield against. And I'm gonna go for the Mud Bomb. This is a bait again. Yeah, I bait too much, and yes, it's going to go through, but it's a safer play, because at this point of time, I'm either going to be able to get the knockout here, or I will be able to get the farm down afterwards. So there was literally nothing worse, like nothing bad about this play, really, in my opinion. So like this, we're gonna actually see that they're gonna go into the Ampharos afterwards. And here's the issue with Ampharos. We are shieldless, which is very decent for them, but if they run Trailblaze, which they definitely do here at this point of time, because they throw way too early, they are going to be in the very difficult spot where they don't do enough damage really against me, and they don't have the Focus Blast anymore to knock out the Steelix. So I actually don't think that Trailblaze is going to be the better move for Ampharos. I think like Focus Blast can be too decent against like Steelix and whatever for like later on. So I think actually Trailblaze might not actually matter too much on this Pokemon, but we have to see, of course. We're most likely going to take a look at this one as well on my channel eventually, but here right now we're gonna see the Poliwrath coming back in, we can go for another Breaking Swipe, going to knock this one out. We're going to see the Steelix coming in, can go for another Breaking Swipe, going to get the debuff onto the opponent. And like this, I can swap into my Toxicroak, outspeed them to the Mud Bomb. This will do a ton of damage. And like this, they're going to be in range for just one payback from my Dubwool. And of course, I expect the opponent to try to catch now again on their final Pokemon, which had like 1 HP left against my Dubwool. So I'm going to not throw my payback immediately here right now. You're going to see that I'm over farming. It's going to be the Ampharos, and like this is going to be it for today's video. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Check out the video on the screen right now. Also the top teams for the Ultra League with new buff Pokemon. So check this definitely out here, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.